recording going. Here we go.
Recording
We're going
in progress.
out to also hello to our World of Women YouTube channel, and to Transform You Media Network, the Disability Channel, the PAC channel. We've got Wingate TV, we got Nonprofit TV. We are going out there in our media conglomeration, and we are stepping in to help our chief host of this show ongoing, Zita. She is on travel and doing other things, which makes her unavailable for the show production as of now. So we're stepping into substitutes. So yes, I'm Kurt Ruska, hosting and co-hosting with Emily Gallmer here. Also holding the hat of H&P Ambassador, because Emily is also a co-host out at the Happy Neighborhood Project, the happiest place in the world for business people, with the Happy Co-op and that zip code mantra, HAPPY for a zip code, basically meaning it encompasses everybody around the world. And the Happy Neighborhood Project made it possible to bring in our guests for the show tonight. And so with that, I'm going to pass it to you, Emily, co-hosting this. I want you to help build up and introduce our guests. Come on in, Emily. The water's warm.
Well, thank you, Kurt. I'm glad the water is warm. But our guest tonight hails from Florida. And she helps with like time management and other things. And so I bring Carrie in here. And as Kurt said, we met her through the Happy Neighborhood Project. So as bring Carrie in here. And how about Carrie, how about you briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me first and foremost. I mean, we just made this happen within a couple of hours ago, so glad our schedules work out. But I am Carrie Klimas. I am in sunny South Florida, native Floridian, and I'm a time mindset and management specialist. And I actually just came from Michigan from the HNP conference that was with the leadership tour last weekend. So with this, meet Edwin and a few other great familiar faces from HNP over the couple years of networking virtually. Great to be here with you guys.
Yeah, it sounded like a great event. Was it?
Yeah,
I would have liked to be there in person, but it looked fun from what I could tell.
Yep, I made it productive. I got in a few podcasts as well, and made some great connections. So yeah, it was nice to get away as well.
Is Edwin like he is on Zoom? Happy as ever.
Oh yeah, I met his wife.
Oh.
So got to meet them. Yep, both of them. We were there the whole 3 days. It was nice, and yeah, very nice to interact and meet Sean Fair, who also held up the leadership development tour, leadership experience tour. That's what it's called.
There you go. So yeah, we have some folks bought those virtual tickets to the event or whatever, and I believe it would be with the in-person. That with the event, they have from the virtual side of people from around the world plug into it, that they can go back and see the archive of it all. So people are still enjoying the event, even though it is physically over. The virtual rendition is still there. And so yeah, we had our captain Nick Davis. He's talking about it at our hosting party, such like that. So it's kind of the buzz of the week for sure right now. Story's still being told. I'm sure there's going to be more unpacked from it all at our worldwide event that we always have on Fridays at 2 Eastern. So the benefits just keep on it going. And you mentioned Edwin's wife, Ellen Kioma. She does an activity weekdays in the morning, 9:15 a.m. every morning. She's on Clubhouse every weekday morning, and she does daily power of recitations. Have you ever been on that, Carrie?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you check that out. Everybody can join the I Am Happy Club on Clubhouse, and in the I Am Happy Club, or see the weekday events are listed there, and it's for 15 minutes. And Helen does a great job with that. So a little bit of raising the vibration and, just some think of it as positive affirmation. Emily actually, kind of worked from the transcript of it all and kind of is able to do it. If she ever has to facilitate daily power recitations, Emily's got all the recitations, all documented. So I am happy, I am healthy, and
I am successful.
Yeah. So keeping that going. So Carrie, with what you do, every time there's some people out there that when I hear the words time management, some people, like to give it a little flair and call it also activity management, because as a result of effective time management, you're helping us manage our activities and everything behind it. Can you speak a little bit more to when I always like to talk about when you weren't doing what you're presently doing, and there's this experience that brings us into what we're doing. Can you speak to that a little bit? What got you started into being a time management professional?
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I'll say I had parents. My mom's pretty organized. My dad asked a lot of questions growing up, and my parents are very active and social. So I used to work in corporate and be an executive administrative assistant. So I did take care of other people's calendars and keeping them organized and productive. Might be productivity coaches as well, I hear. And see, I've been in several network marketing companies, went to conferences, seminars, took a lot of notes. But you know what happens sometimes when we take notes, we want to be able to make these changes, but without the guidance and somebody to help us, it doesn't always accelerate our growth very fast. So the universe brought me a coach from networking about 10 years ago. And, I said yes to have that guidance because I was sick and tired of doing the same thing, different day, insanity. I didn't know any different. I didn't have any new perspectives. And the unknown is where the growth comes from. So I've been committed to my human potential for 10 years and made time for my growth and committed to my, getting out of my own way. I've been a life mastery coach. I co-led a communications experiential workshop for 5 years and had a couple partners, and we kind of parted ways back in September 21. So I had freedom once again, didn't know what I wanted to do, but about a month later, I said, I'm going to get all the networking events out of my head and get them on paper, whether they were virtual like HNP or in person. But I knew I wanted, because I've always been told I was good at networking, asking questions and follow up. So how do I actually finally take the time and, support others in that area as well? Because again, without the sense of clarity and direction for myself only, I think that's where we all struggle, not sure what to do, what's the best way. And we got these ideas, but just not sure and clear in the certainty. So, but when we get that, there's a sense of motivation that helps us move forward. And having somebody like myself to cheer them on, so I'm like, I'm not here to fire them, but be another set of cheerleaders and time to acknowledge people for their walking, like crawling and then walking, but still getting up and falling down and keep on doing it.
It's important to have those cheerleaders along the way, especially when we through things that are maybe harder for people to whatever. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, Emily, in the days ahead, we're going to have to manage our time because we've got quite the undertaking coming up, and we got 1 week to pull it off, right? April 4th.
Right.
Speaking of time, and managing the calendar, that's something that people can factor in. We're going to be back here at the World of Women on April 4th, celebrating Emily Gomer, a program I call OMG EMG, because that's Emily's initials, EMG.
You're not going to let that go, are you?
So Carrie, we're here at the World of Women, imbibing in kind of the role women play in the adventures of, what women do. And so we're talking on the business side of things. With the time management aspect, I mean, this is something where you're positioning it both as, personally, like women could connect to it, obviously available to men and women, Yeah. So, but in terms of from perspective of the journey of a woman is to say it could be like for what she's doing as a mom and family stuff, personal time management, and then also you're positioning it as for women executives, for women in business, women professionals. You're able to come in it from either direction equally, or are you positioning it?
No, both. Because the first thing we do, first like this, somebody has to acknowledge that there's a problem. So there's about 13 different skill areas in time management, from delegating, decision making, dealing with stress, maintaining focus, distractions, goal setting, prioritizing, planning, self-awareness, self-motivation. So there's a variety of different areas. So when one can take the time to acknowledge, so my goal is support women to find out, or men, what areas they struggle in. But when we work together one-on-one, this is just one of my services, that they walk away with a sense of clarity and direction. From writing down a list of all the things they want to get done personally. Like lots of times it's, people want more clients, when it goes from networking to how many times a week. And when you go to an event, how many people do you want to meet, and how many coffee appointments? And one of my clients today I worked with, so she's virtual. She's in Miami, but we met virtually. And she says, oh, when I meet somebody, I'll go find them on social media. I'll tell them about the next event. I said, well, what if you held off on doing that until you met them for coffee? And if you found out that's a mutual interest and they actually wanted that, would that save you time? Like, oh, maybe you might be giving too much of it, as women do, give too much of our time before actually being asked if we really wanted that or not. And her time to be spent where she needs to be spending it. And if I met somebody and said, hey, would you want me to find you on social media? And would you like to be invited to an event? Then consider taking the time to do so, because sometimes we get too much of it without being asked, or, and I have to get that follow-up.
Yeah, so they don't really want that thing. I don't know, that sense maybe wasting a little bit of your time. And possibly, I don't know. So I guess however you look at it.
Well, my goal is to support people in saving time. So she didn't make a lot of coffee appointments. She might have emailed people, but she wasn't developing relationships. And sometimes we're not seeing and knowing how to do that. We go to an event and think we might see somebody over and over again, but without these 30-minute Zoom calls, or getting to know each other, then how are we going to be able to give referrals or resources without actually taking the time to learn more about what each other has to offer? So, right. And somebody just on a Zoom call earlier that I shared on a slide out of my service, she's like, well, I didn't realize you actually did all these other things. But that's the whole point. Sometimes we only hear one or two things, but maybe there's kind of smorgasbord of other things that leads up to that. It takes time to network, follow up, follow through, network, things like that.
There you go. So as we're talking and thinking of this song that I think is from, I just want to say it, like 30 years ago, like a song about, the role of women and the idea of, fry it up in a pan, bring home the bacon and fry it up in a pan, all that stuff. So, there is something to what the women's revolution has been, women kind of finding their place, in everything, in society. And, but yeah, this time management thing seems to be, very relevant and prevalent, because if women are taking on all these roles, running businesses, having families, and who knows, maybe taking on a role in their faith community, and maybe joining a nonprofit, and you never know what they're piling on. All of a sudden, maintain balance and some sort of mental health through it all. These time management things. Like you say, delegating, that's nothing you've experienced, Emily, has it? Delegating? As in all the stuff that I've delegated to you?
Well, yeah. Well, I've done delegating. I'm not sure if I actually totally delegated myself. Maybe a little bit, but I don't know.
So it's a little bit of the pain point of being the super helper, right? That's one of her handles online. Super helpful.
When we were speaking earlier, because she told me she was, supporting you and some assistance. I said, well, if you have the things that you don't do, I don't do people's work for them, but I can teach them how to use Calendly or set up Calendly or Canva, and being able to use the Google Calendar. So doing things for people versus I can teach people. So again, what she's willing to do, what she's not willing to do, and hey, can you just teach somebody how to do that? So being able, like, in a sense, we're in a kind of a synergy. Because again, she's doing some work that might be more detailed, while mine is more teaching people how to fish. And, if that's what you're done, like, okay, never mind, I need somebody else to do it for me. Okay. What I'll say is women, being that I am one, we're nurturers by nature, and often we can give a lot of our time to other people and say yes to too many things. And I'll say, what I notice is a lot of times people will give a lot of time to potential clients, next thing you know, their family's left behind. And spending quality time with their family, their kids, their husband. A lady tonight, she's like, I need to spend more time with my little one versus the older one. And she wrote a goal of how many hours per day she wants to spend. She hasn't even had date night with her husband. So now she wants a goal to make sure they have date night twice a month. And taking care of doctor's appointments, clean the car, getting a room refinished, and wants to, have the rooms done by July. She wrote that down.
There you go. Yeah, it's that adage of what you put your mind to, what you focus on will grow. And so until she goes through and creates that intentionality and the commitment, to the family, unit, husband, kids, whatever, and until you sit down and really make that happen, everything else takes over, because we're surrounded by people who have great ideas for our time.
I'll say too, but if I'm a woman and I'm not getting the help I need, but I'm not asking for it, but I expect somebody else that I'm supposed to get the answer, I'm trying to give somebody service, but I don't take help from somebody else who gives me something that can help me, because it's like a hypocrite. I mean, if I'm not taking, this person can help me, but I don't take it, but I'm expecting everybody else to, take what I offer to. Like, well, if I need help, get the help. I need this help. We're super women and Wonder Woman, but at the end of the day, you're only good at being a Wonder Woman and only things that you're good at. So the goal is to be honest and real about what you can manage, and knowing how to get somebody to help you can communicate who to delegate it to. Like this woman today, she has to now tell her husband that she wants date night. Now she has to take that initiative to communicate with him, to say, hey, honey, you're playing what? Girls' night, what night? So she wants this to happen, but she's got to communicate that with him. Make sure that happens.
Yeah.
I'll say from my own personal experience, I would say that I don't feel a lot of us have enough people in our lives that actually have our backs without judgment, without somebody else maybe, fear of we're doing something wrong or incorrect. But my goal is find more women like yourselves that, can pull you up, bring you up without the judgment, and can show you or give you a way or liaison, or find somebody that can help you get it. Not just tell you about it, but hey, there's a great restaurant. Do you want to come with me? Not just go there. There's a great movie. Come with me to it. There's this great networking event called Happy Neighborhood Project. Go with me. Sometimes we might tell people, but not actually being there with them that can support them feeling more comfortable.
That's right. So Emily, what do you want to share in your life in terms of time management and changes and ideas of more outdoor time and different activities and seasons changing? Or getting away from that winter thing, coming out. So what are you experiencing right now, Emily, for time management?
Well, I've had my off and on issues with time management, but this was kind of similar to what I've been sort of doing as of late, because Kira and I have a lot kind of going on that we're a part of, and it's gotten to be kind of a little, maybe slightly trying to say the right words. I wouldn't want to say that it's gotten like too much, but I think you know, just trying to like figure out like what I wanted to more focus on. Or because I got there's the whole maybe in a sense sort of the whole behind it. Just kind of your career, what you're talking about with the person who wanted to, you know, spend more time with their family and with her clients, and that's kind of like a similar situation right now, trying to figure that out. So
Well, you got it in a sense, it's gotta be selfish. So I have to take that mask that comes from the plane and selfishly fulfill, give myself the oxygen, because if I don't give myself the oxygen and I pass it on to everybody else, I'm not, I'm gonna be no good for myself. I'm not gonna be good for me, and I'm not gonna be good for people. So I would suggest, taking some pen and paper for anybody who's listening, get pen and paper, sit down with yourself and start writing out some of the things you want to get accomplished. So I'm gonna say just like a child would, when a child, if you clean your room, you'll get this as reward. So do it for yourself. If I finish this and get this completed, I reward myself how? Taking a walk, in nature, sitting outside, watching a movie, getting yourself a task and completing it, but also rewarding yourself and seeing if you can do that consistently. And remember, the reward doesn't have to cost anything, but, ask yourself what's important to me, and, I can be better for me, that will be better for somebody else as well. Gotta serve ourselves first. If I don't serve me and get myself what I want, I'll be dying rather than go, I need water.
Yeah, like if we don't help ourselves, then can we help somebody else? Kind of a thing. So
exactly. If I can't help me, how can I help you? If I don't know what I need, how can I help you what you need? Not always easy, but learning how to communicate with ourselves and defining our wants and needs and fulfilling them, just like going down to a meal. I mean, you go to a restaurant, don't you want to order what you want and get what you want and walk out happy? Oh, but you need a server to be able to do that. So that's why I use the analogy of a server. So a server is a liaison between us getting the food. The server has to ask us questions. What do you want on the side? How do you want that? So if the server takes good care of us, pays attention, gives us good service, we tip them money. And we might come back, tell people about the restaurant, go back to the same server, how wonderful they are. So the server is our liaison. But again, how many people in our lives are serving us? And we need something. We need somebody who has that. And then if I hear it, I need to take it. Because that's going to add, I'm hungry. I'm going to have to go somewhere to get them. I'm going to pay for it. But my goal is to pay for things that you want, right? Rather than defining what you may be wasting your time and money on versus what do you want? Let's get those things and get that fulfilled. So then you can have more free time and, to do things you want to enjoy. But making sure, you do enjoy them more often than waiting for a vacation, because people plan a vacation and they won't have a phone, they'll put their phone down, they'll do the fun things, but why aren't you doing that every day? You could live life at vacation. Planning it, getting it, the phone's down, working, stopping, going out to dinner, going to the movies, seeing people. Right, the same way you would plan, be more deliberate planning a vacation, planning your everyday life that way. And how may I support people and how to do that?
Yeah, it's good.
There you go, good stuff. So earlier we mentioned about Edwin and Helen from the Happy Neighborhood Project. They've been really good to, reiterate to us. We've heard it many times in my 2.5 years of HMP. I've heard a lot about not letting the past or the future rob us of the present. And I think with this topic of time management and these choices you're talking about, I think that's the opportunity, is to kind of ward off our plans and, kind of, give ourselves permission to break from the routines that we've established and kind of reground and say, what really is important to us right now at the moment? And are we allowing that to grow in our life and to do all the adjustments that you're talking about? I think this is all good acumen, to really, help people, make the most of, most of their days and deal with a lot of the, things that come out in hot topics. A lot of commitment, around the world is being put into the realm of mental health. And we've got friends that we know from HMP talk about brain health. And, Emily and I are involved in Project Die Hard, which responds to the issue of veteran suicide. So there's all these type of things that are kind of, things that can be derived from, not considering what you're doing with your time and making, the bodily experience, a little less favorable and, kind of causing symptoms maybe that your doctor's finding, such like this. So does that show in the work you're doing, Carrie, where it's like you're just simply trying to help, you might say clerical or, a practical thing for everyday life, but have you found that, that people's health change because they're making these adjustments? Have you seen that type of thing, or like emotional, social, emotional well-being and stuff like that? How does it show itself in what you're doing?
Yeah, I would say, the goal is that, if I spent more time on my needs and my wants, working out, eating better, staying committed to it. I can tell people, so the world's going to keep moving with or without me. And often we might project and point at other people. Why don't they do that? Why don't they do that? I'm like, well, let's turn it back on ourselves. And if I just focus on me and my wants and needs, and I wanted to fulfill them, I have a lady today, she wants to lose 20 pounds. Now she hasn't been working out a lot. So I said, okay, so what's your commitment? She's like, 2 times a week. So we were making a plan for tomorrow, and she's like, nope, can't plan to work out tomorrow. It's gonna be this other day. I said, okay, write that down. But this is what she wants. And I said, I have a calendar that's a Dollar Tree, the fold out calendar. And I said, well, what if you, on a Friday, you weigh 180, her goal is 160. So what if 180 is on Friday? Now your new number is 178. And so for a whole week, you focus on 178, on 178, on 178. You go on the scale and you go, I'm 178, yay. Now my new number is 176. So if I keep telling myself I'm 176, 176, 176 for a whole week, do you think that's going to tell my body and things what not to eat and go, okay, remember I got a goal, 176. I want to be on that scale on Friday and see that new number. Now, is this going to be perfect? No. Are we going to mess up? Yes. But at least having a number you can focus on. Like I had $10 to go to the restaurant. I only can spend $10. I can't spend any more than that. But knowing that number, like I said, you don't know your number, your income, and how many people you want to meet and weight you want to lose. So I said, well, if you had a calendar, you started with 180 and you go 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds for a month. Next month is 3 pounds, 3 pounds less, 3 pounds less. You're going to have a date with that new number on it. So maybe June 30th, you got a date for that exact number you want. I eat an elephant one bite at a time. By being able to do things in bite size, like crawl 2 steps for a child, crawl 2 steps, walk 2 steps, right? Get up, get down, crawl 2 more steps, right? And eventually it's going to turn into 3 or 4, right? Practice, practice, practice. So, but at the end of the day, yeah, those who are ambitious and driven, it's like my ideal clients, they're willing. So it's just like, working at the gym. I can't make you do the workout, but he showed up. Let's start with 2 pounds in 30 minutes. That's commitment, consistency.
And when you're talking about the elephant, Emily, my question is, when's the last time you had elephant?
What does that mean?
No, that's just an interesting thing with that expression. Everybody talks about eating an elephant one bite at a time, but all of us use that expression, never had elephant.
Right.
So you would have thought, like, yeah, well, it's like a pie. You gonna eat whole pie or one slice at a time? Right. Exactly. How do you eat a pie? Right. But the terminology is elephant, yes. But I don't know why they got that, but yeah. Just to make us laugh, and that's the whole point. Like, who's eating an elephant?
It was just that elephant in the room.
True, that's true too.
Use multiple expressions all at once there. So from there, I guess one thing I just want to point out for the purposes of the show and our plans here. So Carrie, thanks for coming on tonight. I just want to announce, kind of share a little bit of what we were talking about before the show and let everybody know. Stay tuned with our WOW podcast team, the World Mobility team, and with Zeta. Emily and I are going to be, but mostly Emily is going to be coordinating with Zeta to propose, Carrie coming back. So we're going to kind of give that tease a little bit. That's kind of what we're working on as of producing the show, is have a return, because this is really a great topic to revisit. I don't think we're going to, get everything into what we're doing in this show here. So it'll be good to have a sequel, to what you're doing with us, Carrie. This will be good. And I think Zeta will appreciate being able to come in and get into her hosting role and, do her little rendition of, unpacking what you bring in time management and with the work she does. Again, everybody, the work here at the Wild Podcast is to build off of what Zeta does with Zeta's Healthy Beginnings. So it's all about healthy babies. That's where the name of the nonprofit comes from. So it's all about healthy babies, healthy women. ZetaHealthy.org is that webpage. And so check that out. And so that's what inspired the show. When Emily and I heard about this work that Zeta was doing, and we're into podcasting, we got into a little bit of proposing, what about doing a podcast, to this direction, inspired from her nonprofit. And so we kind of brainstormed a little bit and came up with the name World of Women, which is inspired out of our other sister show, World of Ability. And so here we go. And I really liked how that came together, World of Women. Wow, the Wow podcast. You like that? We're producing a Wow podcast. So stuff there. So that being said, Carrie, if we're kind of touching people and people are kind of feeling the need to start addressing this in their life, and they're maybe even getting the self-help mode, how do people find you? How do they contact you with your consultation you do, if you do a discovery call or whatever like that? How do people get set up to build off of this offline from the show and get right with you? How does that happen? Absolutely.
Well, I appreciate that. I was just thinking of that. So yes, they can find me on my website at greatpartnershipsolutions.com. So the goal is that we work as a great partnership, focusing our time on the solution. So yeah, there are a bunch of other different services, but we've been talking about my 5-step action plan for success. I've also have a list of events, from a networking skills workshop to goal setting workshops, supporting people in their time and setting up Calendly or Canva, or doing presentations, Wing Win-Win services. But how to use social media more effectively, like communicating more effectively on resources like LinkedIn. But yeah, they can find me there. I have an opportunity. They can click there for a free 30-minute complimentary consultation. It'll go right to my calendar if they feel inspired to connect. I also have a YouTube channel, Carrie Climas GPS, on short videos on time management, networking, communication, organization, and more. So most of my videos are 4 minutes or less. So feel free to check that out. And if you feel inspired to want to connect and have a real conversation, then yeah, you can message me even on my website too. There's a place to do that as well. So look forward to hearing from people who would feel inspired to connect.
Very good. Thanks, Carrie. So Carrie, anything else to share in terms of more to share out about the Happy Neighborhood Project? Well, let's just start with the Happy Neighborhood Project. I know you and I met in past years, so longtime participants, both you and I, and Emily. All three of us are longtime participants to HMP. What would you add in terms of what Happy Neighborhood Project has amounted for you? Obviously, it's significant because you keep participating all along the way with what HMP and the Happy Co-op offers. So what is your review of HMP?
Sure, absolutely. So I remember getting on my first call back in April 2020 and, seeing everybody else have their, calendars, and clicked on them, and, getting five calendar appointments in an hour. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And I love, here in South Florida, where I network face to face, there's a gentleman who has a group that he's got 125 events a year. So he's very consistent. So I love HNP because it's very consistent. You can Tuesday through Friday from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock or so, you can jump on a virtual Zoom call, free of it, for an hour, meet some great people, being a breakout room. So I love the fact that it's been very consistent. Even Edwin's talking about other new ways of people connecting and building relationships. So I love the fact not only is it by state, but different groups like the Lunch and Learns, or by category as your disability. So it's great to have that, and people are just anywhere and everywhere, Dubai, India. So wherever you are, there's, some, even though you don't have to live there, but again, you can do business anywhere in the world, having a place that they can go Monday through Friday, basically, and meet somebody and have that connection, and boom, you just don't know if it's going to be a referral, resource, client, friend, etc. So I appreciate H&P for, providing that service, as well as more, and even going to their conference as well. So who would have thought that reconnecting with Philomena would have been, an opportunity to get away. So that, yeah, I'll take it. one more step in front of Edwin and some of the people that I, never really met face to face. So it was great.
Excellent review of H&P. We always like to do that. It was what brought Zeta together with Emily and me, and so this is just great to have this be a derivative of what H&P makes possible. So that, everybody can know that we can find H&P through hmpabc.com, which is a short link forwarding link to happyneighborhoodproject.com. Both are the same page. Emily, do you have something to bring forward?
No, it was just kind of along the lines of, if it wasn't for Edwin and his whole I Am Happy project, and then having the Happy Neighborhood Project as kind of a shoot off from that, that none of us would have met. Yeah, you and I would have met Carrie and everybody else from. So exactly. It's been a great thing. So very appreciative of Edwin and Helen, and they're.
Yep. There's a lot of great people out there have brilliant ideas, and at least Edwin has put into action. And of course, that connection with Sean Fair, and I think they plan to do something again in September. So he's always coming up with new connections with people, and bringing people on board. So I think it's great. There's more products, more services, more opportunities. Yeah.
Well, he he started the H&P on the road or something during this few day event in Michigan. So I guess we'll see where that goes.
There we go. It's going to be like, where's Waldo? Where's H&P? It's on the road. Where's the in-person event next? So good stuff. I can point out with the Happy Neighbor Project website that there's a video that's brought into the website through YouTube. It's available on YouTube. Going to youtube.com and searching for happiness is a default position. So I know when I got introduced to H&P, that was one of the early things I did. Seeing that video was there to see what this character Edwin was all doing and the work he did. Wow, what a phenomenal video from the TEDx talk. But I kind of segue to that because in this thing of time management, it's a little bit of an offshoot, a little bit off topic, but it kind of resembles time management because with happiness as a default position, Edwin and his wife Helen, they teach something called happiness as a skill, which mostly Edwin does it a lot of times as a public speaker and what he's doing, but Helen refers to all this stuff as well. And in happiness as a skill, there's a 3-minute rule. So I kind of thought in terms of time management, I'd slip that in here, where what an interesting concept that, in building happiness as a default position, the teaching is that if there's something that is challenging your default position of being happy, to set aside 3 minutes, and with that 3 minutes, commit to yourself that when you're done, after the 3 minutes, you're going to return to happiness. So what that gives you the chance to do is if you need to hit a pillow, if you need to scream into a pillow, if you need to get outside, go for a bike ride. I don't know, bike ride takes more than 3 minutes, but go run around the house, whatever it is, go do your thing for 3 minutes. and then let that 3 minutes just go. Maybe do laughter yoga, whatever it is, and then deal with it however you need to in 3 minutes and make that commitment. So what a tremendous strategy, something that I know I never would have thought of if Edwin didn't teach that to us and stuff like that. So a little flair from HMP to slip in all the stuff you're doing with everybody, Carrie, and time management. Draw from that 3 minute rule. Slip that in there when needed.
Time, right? 3 minutes, and you get the most out of that time, and either gonna go with it and let it, and throw yourself into it, then let it go. The whole thing and turning that into a habit. So whether it starts off with 10 minutes and gets down to 3, but again, taking the time, blocking it off, and then get back onto priorities.
That's right.
Wasting time, but everybody's doing the best they can. But good to be sharing that with also with their people to be able to hold people accountable. This is what they want.
Okay,
right.
okay. I was not exactly sure how to word this question. But Kurt, what's your how has time management been for you? Like, what's I don't know what I'm trying to ask. It's kind of the whole time management thing for you, like what I was saying, kind of about my situation earlier from before.
How do I manage it?
No, I was asking Kurt, like, has time management been like an issue, a challenge for you at times, or has it always, I don't know, kind of the wording of my question for Kurt?
Well, I'd say that, I have parents that are very organized, so I would think I've had some because I've also taken time to manage other people's. So I was very, I guess, in a sense, respectful of other people's time. But, how do I manage my time? I didn't know what was important, what should I be work focused on, and, but I made time to learn about myself. And so because of myself, understanding myself and what I want, I make myself a priority. And so I always know what I want and write stuff down and get it done and I complete it. So then can I reward? Because after our call tonight, I'm going to have a bite to eat and I'm going to take time off and relax. I'm done. So there's time to eat and time to relax. So I think I've done a lot for today and I feel good about it. And that's the whole point. I feel good about my productivity and, look at tomorrow's plans are ready and set to go. So that's good. That's all I need to know. Making sure my appointments are confirmed for tomorrow and what time I have to wake up. And so those are things that I can respect and appreciate about myself and learning how to do that. But it took a practice and, an awareness to understand what's important for me. But didn't do it. I've been practicing on working on myself for 10 years. And I can't tell you when and how long that took, but every new opportunity I learn about myself, the more I'm growing. Like, oh, why do I do this? I'm going to be smart. The goal is how to keep being smart about my time.
Yeah.
Does that hopefully answer your question?
Yeah. Kurt, what do you have to say about your time management?
I'd say it's pretty good, very organized and very productive. So I'll say that. I mean, even at Wisconsin, I brought my laptop with me, so I was actually doing things and being productive. I was there and paying attention, but yes, also being productive. What do you say, Kurt?
So Emily, what do you want to do next?
Okay, so my question was kind of for you, Kurt, about the whole time. Yeah, about your time management journey.
Well, I would say for the last 2.5 years, it's been something that's moved forward pretty swiftly because it seems like a self-serving question now because you're the one that's doing scheduling and doing Calendly and doing Google Calendar and, making scheduling calls. And,
well, I mean, I'm just talking about
podcasting and like scheduling Carrie to be in here. So
well, I'm not talking about.
It's pretty slick for me. Just let Emily do it.
Well, what about your personal life and the family and friends? As you delegated. What else? How are you managing it? As we,
Yeah, well, I wasn't talking about just kind of connected with me, Kurt, or the past 2.5 years. I'm just kind of talking about in general.
Yeah, well, basically, I have a boss lady here, so so she kind of takes care of a lot of scheduling here, and we got multiple calendars going. We use Google Calendars family too. And, basically with my daughter in middle school, she's using Google Calendars, so able to exchange information on our plans through that. And then I do a daily planner, thing. So even though I've got the electronic with Google Calendar and all that going on, that's great. It's handy when the electronic's in front of me, but I always like to have the handwritten rendition so that if the computer's not on, I can still get my brain going on how the timing's working for the day. So it works out. It's got its flaws. Once in a while, I realize I missed a meeting. Stuff like this. But I would say we're running in about 99%. That time management's working pretty close to perfect, I would say. It's got its checks and balances, because like every time you're with a group, like with our water ski club, they do what they do to manage the activities of the club. And then we're using an app. We've got the Team Snap app that, allows us to look into, where the ski club needs their time and stuff like that. And all these electronic calendars are pretty slick. Like with HMP events and whatever, or Zoom event, register and, get it onto the Zoom calendar. So does it seem about right, Emily, for how you've gotten to know me and my time management for 2.5 years? Seem accurate? Have I been doing okay?
Yeah.
There was hesitance, Gary. So maybe we need to have a sidebar conversation and figure out the deeper review by Emily. Oh man. So from here, I want to go ahead and take the opportunity to make acknowledgement recognition of another one of our sister shows, Monday Mission, with Project Die Hard. With the works of Brian Gibson as president of Project Die Hard. And of all things, we have our lead host here and founder of the WOW podcast, care of hosting the podcast, Monday Mission. That gets produced at 6:30 Central on Mondays, 7:30 Eastern. And so we are taking guests for that program. So basically the business community, organizations, and entities and so forth that want to be a part of helping spread hope to veterans or otherwise supporting Project Die Hard, to come on there and to be a part of that show. And then also obviously to give a chance to feature our veterans and, work being done maybe by other veteran service organizations, so on and so forth. So with that, Emily, what else do you have for this culmination of this episode of World of Ability, our WOW podcast?
Well, I just wanted to thank Gary for coming on. And for those of you who have tuned in through social media, also special thanks to Margaret Third, Jay Stroyan, Jack Clayton, North Wingate for allowing us to have this on their show, on their platform. And to make sure to check out all of our social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and subscribe, like, share, comment, and so on. And we are here every Tuesday evening for the World of Women at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central. Everybody is welcome to join us anytime, not just for the World of Women show, but all of our 10 other shows. So if anybody is interested in joining us or has any questions, comments, and so on, can contact us at either podcastengineer54@gmail.com, or abilitymknow@gmail.com. Any last words from you, Kurt?
I guess the wrap up would be again about next week, and might have to kick off the party with Monday Mission, because when we're doing the Monday Mission show on Monday, guess what? It'll be April 4th in Australia. So the celebration can't start soon enough, and our friends at H&P say we'll just dedicate the whole week to Emily. So there you go, Emily, back to you. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up, put a bow on it. I think we done did it. We got this episode done. Thanks, everybody. Tune in next time.
Yes, see you in a couple of weeks. I'm guessing it sounds like a good plan. You're ready soon.
Thank you, everybody, and hopefully everybody have a safe and productive weekend to stay happy.
Recording stopped.
All right.
There it is. Right after bell. Right at 9 Eastern.